Well, first and foremost, thank you for the generous donation. That's got goosebumps when you told me. We'll definitely put it to work, and I think a lot of what we're going to talk about today is really where that money is going to make a meaningful impact to the future of our profession. I don't use microphones a lot, so hopefully I'm not blowing you out in the back. But if I am, make wild gestations, and I'll try to not yell at you as much. So, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Rick Smith. I'm the Executive Director of the Conrad Blucher Institute for Surveying and Science. And we are the only endowed research institute in the nation for GIS and surveying work. So my day job is actually research. We have about 100 people on staff at the Blucher Institute, and we do research for federal, local, and state sponsors, and also NGOs. However, as part of the Institute, we also support educating the next generation of land surveyors and geospatial engineers. And we're going to get into a lot of that here in a few moments, but for those of you who don't know about the Blucher Institute, I wanted to take a few moments to talk about the history of the Institute. So on the left, you're seeing Felix von Blucher and his wife Maria Blucher, who came to Texas in 1849. They fled Prussia due to political, they fell out of favor with the crown, let's say. Now, Felix became the county surveyor and engineer when he settled in Corpus Christi with his wife, and his wife studied piano under Franz Liszt. And so when they came over, she taught piano and languages, and he did engineering and surveying. So they had kids, and so the upper right-hand corner, the gentleman in the hat, is Charles Blucher, Felix's son, and he was a land surveyor and the county surveyor immediately after Felix von Blucher. And in the bottom left is Conrad Blucher, so that's Charles's son, and he was the county surveyor immediately after Charles for Nueces County. And he retired in 1954, and when he did, that ended 100 years of Bluchers being the county surveyors for Nueces County. Now what's cool about that is they were really good at keeping records. And I'm sure all of you surveyors know what I'm talking about, because records are valuable and really the lifeblood of a lot of business. So the family were surveyors, but also librarians. The first professional librarian in the city of Corpus Christi was actually Maria Blucher. And so they kept records, and they made maps. And so the entire 100-year collection of these three generations, field books, field notes, maps, are all in our library and special collections and archives at A&M Corpus Christi. And over the last several years, we got grants to scan every 100,000 pieces from that collection and put them online freely available. So if you go to the A&M Corpus Christi Library, you look for the Blucher collection, you will see some of the coolest stuff you've ever seen. Field books back from the 1850s all the way up to the 1950s. And we also have nine other surveying collections that have been donated to the library, and we're working through digitizing those as well. So if you're ever in Corpus Christi, look us up. We'd love to take you over to the library and show you some really, really cool maps of South Texas. And also, just as another thing I'd say, what they used to eat back then, you could tell it was a bunch of guys out on their range, because they would pencil in their food list, and it was like 20 pounds of salted beef, 20 onions, and a barrel of whiskey. No vegetables, right? Nothing healthy. So here, we're probably not too far from that today. There is a lot more of the Blucher history. So 2 books have been written about the Bluchers, and we also have a website about the history of the family. You can find it on our website, conradblucherinstitute.org/history. It's a little QR code if you want. But Maria von Blucher, when they came to Texas in 1854, she wrote a letter home every week for the entire time they were here. And the family kept those letters and translated them from German back to English. And there's a book, if you want to see what a frontierswoman, how amazing she was in her life supporting Felix when he was out surveying. It's an amazing story of South Texas frontier. So check that out if you haven't before. It's a really, really cool insight to what it was like to live in Corpus Christi 100 years ago. Okay, so let's get to the main event. Today I want to talk to you about the geospatial engineering and land surveying career and technical education pathway. What is that? Well, it's us trying to solve this problem. You've probably seen it. You're all getting pretty old, and myself included, and we have a crisis coming. This is nothing new, right? So these are the most recent stats we've collected. We've been collecting the statistics of surveyors since 2002. Dr. Gary Jeffress did it before me, and now I'm picking it up. So as of, we always do it at the end of the year, so as of December 5th, 2024, in Texas, the median age of a surveyor is 59. Just barely ticked down from 60 to 59, just barely, right? But they're still getting older, and so I always like to point out there are more surveyors practicing, and these are RPLSs, over the age of 65 than under the age of 40 in Texas. Think about that. More practicing past retirement age than there are under the age of 40. Now, we've been collecting data from other states as well. So I've got 12 other states that we've just been able to get data for, and we're almost in the worst shape. We're second. There is one state that the average is 61, and the best was like 52. So the next question we want to answer is, what's normal look like? We don't know. If you look at the engineers, their median age is 50, but there's also 25,000 of them. So that's kind of the next question, but I thought you might want to see the newest stats. Also, this is the age profiles of surveyors in Texas over the years, so back from 2003 to 2024. And the different bands are the age groups. So you can kind of see that green band in the middle getting smaller as you move to the right. That's the 50s. But then you see what? The 60s are getting bigger, and then the 70s are getting bigger as you go up. So what we're seeing is an aging demographic. Right? It's very clear from the data that the ages are just, people are aging up throughout the demographic rings. Yes?
Yeah. Have you checked, because in Puerto Rico we have the same problem, but have you seen how many young surveyor surveyors are not licensing?
So yeah.
That's the biggest problem that we have, that they are getting to EIS and other stuff,
Right.
and they just don't care to have their license.
That's a great question, and my next slide. So this is perfect. But the question was, have you looked at who is not getting licensed, right? So this is where there actually is some encouragement, I would say. The white line, are the number of RPLSs in the state of Texas. The green line are the number of SITs in the state of Texas, and it is exploding. That's encouraging. But when are we going to see the conversion from SIT to RPLS? Or maybe, SIT paraprofessional, maybe that's where they're happy, right? I don't know the answer. I'm just asking questions and showing data. But this is encouraging, and we are seeing SITs grow in other states. So I've been teaching in GIS and surveying since 2006. And this is the most excited I've been in 20 years in terms of maybe there's a chance that the tide is turning. So with that being said, also, trivia time. I've told you what the median age of an RPLS in Texas is. What do you think the median age of an SIT in Texas is? Shout it out. So 30, 35. 35, I think you get 40. 33 and a quarter. 24. 38. 38 is the closest. Median age is 37. Right. That's way higher than I thought it was going to be. Now, is that normal? I don't know, right? Because we're trying to get data from other states to be like, what is normal? But I frankly was gobsmacked that it was 37. But that probably can tell us something. And so, with that being said, I want to play a short video. So we have companies come present to our students every 2 weeks throughout the year to talk about the companies and do recruiting. And then we usually try to corner them. And so Nick's literally in a corner and say, hey, talk to us about what you think about surveying. So hopefully you can hear it. I have the TV turned all the way up, so I apologize if it's not super clear. But I want you to hear his story real quick, and then I want to talk about it.
My name is Nick Van. I'm the Managing Director of Land Surveying for BGE in the Houston office. Engaging young people in land surveying and educating on what land surveying is extremely important. One of the funny things about land surveying, and this is really a common phrase that happens throughout our industry, is people say, you don't pick land surveying, it picks you. And so a lot of people don't know about land surveying. And many of us that have come to end up in land surveying have done it because our family members are in it, or somebody invited us into it and we had no idea really what land surveying was. And I think that's really unfortunate because land surveying is a great industry. I always, when I interview people, I ask them, like, did you like geometry in high school? Do you like to put puzzles together? Do you like to research and like discover things? And if you do, land surveying is probably a really great industry for you, a really great career to look into. So I love going and talking to students because many of them don't know about land surveying. And when we begin to talk about some of the attributes about land surveyors that really make them successful, you start to see kids light up because they like technology and they like putting puzzles together and they like solving problems. And so really land surveying is a great career. It's a great opportunity to get into something that has so many different career paths. So you can get into land surveying without going to college and have a really incredible career and make great money and provide for your family. Or you can choose to get your associate's degree or bachelor's degree and have all these other opportunities that open up to you. And so many people find themselves on different paths, right, with land surveying. And it's just so great. We see all different types of people come into land surveying because they like the field aspect, or they like the idea of getting their license and continuing their career in the office. So to me, it's just a great opportunity to educate and to just share about why land surveying has been so great to me and my family, but also to help people understand and discover it for themselves and how it might be helpful for them.
One of my takeaways from that is, when do you get into surveying? So by show of hands, who's the son or daughter of a surveyor? Right, a couple, right? Nowadays, that used to be how we recruited, but nowadays we're gonna have to look at grandchildren of surveyors, right? Okay, who got into surveying in their 20s? It's more than I would expect, actually. Think about half. What about 30s? 1? 40s? Yep, 1? 50s? Older than 50? Right? I didn't see all the hands, right? But my thought is, so median age of an SIT is 37. Is that because this is their second or third career? Is this because they started in the field to work their way up? I don't know the answer, right? But it's a real interesting statistic if you think about it. Because if a SIT just requires a 2 or 4 year degree, we would expect to see them in the 20s. But with surveying being such an unknown profession in many ways, we often, like Nick, for what we hear at the university, is it's my second or third career. Or I went to a class with a friend and I learned GIS and that took me to surveying, right? So just food for thought. This is what we're seeing from the academic side. You're in industry. I know you're hiring from all different levels, right? So I'd love to hear your take on it as well in terms of where you see growth potential. Okay, so that brings us to, as educators, and I know as industry professionals, we've been trying to solve this talent problem for a very, very long time. And we think we have the best possible solution that I've seen since I've been an educator, and we want to talk about what we're doing here today. And that's the Geospatial Engineering and Land Surveying Career and Technical Education Program. And what that means is students in Texas high schools are now approved by the Texas Education Agency to take land surveying and GIS classes in high school. In high school. So when they graduate, the world's their oyster. This is huge for us. Back years ago in Corpus Christi, we got one of our local ISDs, Flower Bluff ISD, to teach a GIS class. We taught the teacher taught the students. After the first year, they got hired by industry. Then we got a second teacher, and we taught them and they taught the students, and I kid you not, they got hired by industry after their second year. We went through 4 teachers in 4 years. So we gave up, frankly, because it was really, really tough and discouraging. I mean, it was great for the teachers, right? But it was discouraging to really fight this, and we had to convince the principal, and it was an uphill battle. But now that the Texas Education Agency has approved, and there's an official pathway for geospatial engineering and land surveying, the bureaucracy is now on our side. We're not having to fight for who we are anymore. The new fight is going to be, well, how do we get it here in San Antonio? and in other cities around the state. And that's why I'm here to really talk to you about it. So the origin story is in the upper left-hand corner is Gary Jeffress, one of my old professors and former director of the Blucher Institute, and Isidro Garza, one of our alumni and a business owner for surveying of Gracia Geomatics in Houston. His son got interested in surveying and engineering. And so he went to his local high school and got engaged with the Career and Technical Education Academy. Met the CTE coordinator and started talking about surveying. And they said, well, we already have an engineering pathway. Would surveying kind of fit within that pathway? Sure. And so 6 years ago now, they started teaching surveying and GIS at Klein High School in Houston, Texas. And actually, this past spring, the first student that went through all 4 years of the high school in our program just graduated and has a job and is going to get their SIT here soon. So we've already seen one success. And the program 6 years ago started with 7 students. There's now 30 students in that high school taking surveying and GIS, which is fantastic. That's one. So Toloso Midway High School down the road from Corpus Christi also has an approved GEL CTE pathway. They've had engineering for quite some time. We're getting surveying going. So they're taking dual credit with us as well. We're struggling a little bit there just because we have to have a teacher that understands surveying. So we'll talk about how we're trying to solve that problem. But we've got about 8 students engaged through that high school trying to learn it in high school. So Isidro gets a lot of credit for helping us see the way. But how he engaged as a surveyor was every Friday for 5 years, he went out to the high school with a crew and taught them surveying because the teacher didn't know how, right? But now the teacher knows how. And so there's a lot of time and effort they put to really kickstart it and get us a model. And now we're working with Isidro to really scale that model and take it further to where we can get it approved across Texas. So I'm going to show you another video from the Klein ISD survey high school professor. Now they made this video and it's like kind of a throwback to the 80s with the sound and everything, so excuse the music, but I want you to hear from her in terms of what she thinks about it.
What I like about the geospatial and land surveying program is that you get a lot of opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't get.
What I like about this program is mainly the people. I've made a lot of friends and met a lot of cool people through this program. And a lot of people I probably wouldn't have talked to if I wasn't in this program. And it helps build connections, not just for high school, but later on in life.
What do I like about the geospatial program? I mean, there's a lot of stuff to love about it. We have, what it comes down to the stuff we do in class, the math part about it, the stuff we do outside of class, like in the field, all the flying drones, and getting your associate's degree is probably one of my favorite parts about this. About going outside, Fieldwork Friday is something we do every Friday. We go outside, we do level loops, traverses, really anything related to surveying we do. And my favorite thing about it is going outside and doing the traverses where we man the total station, turn angles, write down your field work, and then it just looks so satisfying when it's all complete.
The softwares that we utilize on a daily basis are, Revit, Autodesk products, Bentley products. It's products that the students are learning here in high school in their freshman year. It's pretty neat to see them come in and absorb the softwares, get the certifications that they can get, and then come and be active right out of high school into the workforce. And that's one of the neat things that we love seeing is a much shortened learning curve when they get out of college or out of high school and go into the workforce, being able to have them plug right in and start being productive members of our industry.
So we use ArcGIS here in this class. It is one of our college classes from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We use it to plot points on a dotted map, helps us survey the land for the United States and all the other maps.
I also managed to get a summer internship with Mr. Garza at Gracia Geomatics this past summer. Most of the work was pretty difficult. I had to wake up early, had to work in the sun all day, but it was $18 an hour, so I think it was worth it.
And I think that you should join the geospatial program because, I mean, it really is a culture around here. You know, you get along with everyone. This side does a great job incorporating the seniors with the juniors with the sophomores, sophomores with the seniors, you know. Everyone is, you know, together and no one's singled out alone. And it's almost like you have help wherever you go, and the more help you have, I mean, it's really awesome because you learn so much along the way.
I think students should join this, the geospatial program. You get to do a lot of cool stuff, you get to meet a lot of cool people. I mean, we have great teachers, great staff, great companies, and it's just really overall an enjoyable program.
The Geospatial Engineering and Land Surveying College program provides many opportunities for students. They get a chance to earn an associate's degree from Lone Star College. They get to take GIS classes and land surveying classes from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, one of the leading universities in the United States for geospatial engineering and land surveying. They get a chance to compete in many surveying competitions, including at the regional level, the state level, and they even get to travel to Washington, D.C. to compete in a national land surveying competition. They get a chance to earn their letter jacket in geospatial engineering and land surveying, and they also get a chance to work with industry professionals every Friday. They can go to professional surveying conventions and events. We take them on many field trips and college tours, and then they get to earn many industry-based certifications, including AutoCAD, ArcGIS Pro. They get their Certified Surveying Technician Level 1 certification, and they get their Part 107 commercial drone license.
Students should join the geospatial program because of the varying opportunities given to us and because of the great teachers we like that, and also the resources they offer us. They really go out of the way, like they travel with us, they go out of the way to like give us expenses and everything, which I find really, amiable. I find it fun because they're able to like collaborate with us as well. They work with us as a team because they let us know we're never alone with them in the program.
This program offers many learning opportunities and provides skills required for the high-demand industry of geospatial engineering and land surveying, as well as gives you a chance to develop strong friendships. We hope you consider joining the Geospatial Engineering and Land Surveying College pathway.
So, you've learned a little bit about the program. Now, how do you get involved in it? As an 8th grader, you must currently be in Algebra 1 or already have completed that in geometry. The application process is available right on our district website, and we're going to provide the QR code for you at the end of this video.
We think this is the future to what would be my dream to be when there's a son or daughter sitting around the dinner table talking to their parents about, oh, I want to go to college, what do I want to be? What do they always say right now? Doctor, lawyer, or engineer. I want it to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, surveyor, right? And with us getting into the CTE game and getting this pushed into the high schools and junior highs, I think cautiously, I'm optimistic we may actually enter that conversation and really, really have a meaningful pipeline from high school all the way into industry, college, and beyond. And so a few pictures from Klein ISD. They've done the Skills USA competition for several years, do quite well. They went to DC. They actually got second place in the junior division, which is them competing against junior colleges across the nation. So high school actually got second place in that, which is pretty impressive. We've been really impressed as we've had in the classroom in the competition. Like, they're really smart kids out there, and they're really dedicated, and they get it. So this is what's got us so excited. And then last year, in May 2024, and the students are going to be taking their exams again here soon, 10 students got their CST Level 1 from Klein ISD. So really exciting stuff in terms of showing them the value of certification and a pathway through licensure, or at least or the profession. So in terms of what it looks like in Texas, this is what we worry about. There is an engineering cluster in high schools that we have surveying underneath. So the idea is in 8th grade, students have to decide, do they want to go to regular high school or career and technical education high school? 8th grade's crazy to think about. We were always looking at seniors, and we finally had somebody tell us, dude, you're like 4 years too late. You got to go for middle schoolers, because if they can go the career technical education, that's what's going to hook them in. So we actually do a lot of recruiting now in 7th and 8th grade to get them into the CTE programs, because in the 9th grade they all take engineering, just a general engineering course, and then they get to decide, well, where do they want to go? They want to go civil, mechanical, electrical, surveying, right, and GIS. So that's our pathway in. This is approved by the Texas Education Agency. And we have, so that's like step one. Okay, good, there's a program. Step two is we have to get regional approval by the TEA to be able to offer those programs across the state. So 2 years ago, there were 2 regions approved, Houston and Corpus Christi. And so we've been working very, very hard these last 2 years, getting letters of support, going to the school districts and all these regions to petition the TEA to get approval. And this is what it looks like right now. So we've, hold on, I've got the number. And also TEA doesn't understand geography, by the way. We have no idea how they drew those boundaries. So the regions we have are Edinburgh, which is 1, Corpus Christi, Houston, Huntsville, Kilgore, which is region number 7 in the east-northeast, Richardson, which is 10, that'd be your Dallas, 11, Fort Worth, Waco, Austin, and San Antonio. So what does that mean? That's the procedural step 1 is completed in San Antonio. That means that any ISD in San Antonio can offer a GEL CTE program. So we have cleared the procedural hurdle to say it can be offered in this region. Next year, we're going to go for the Panhandle, 16 and 14, no, 17, Lubbock. And then, also El Paso. We've been talking to the TSPS chapter out there. So we want all the major population centers covered, because once we'll have step 1, step 2 is getting with an ISD to say, okay, there's this GEL CTE thing. Well, are you interested in offering it? And then if they say yes, that's where we can come in, because we know the paperwork, we know the bureaucracy, and we can basically integrate industry and the schools to say, and here's how you get it started, and here's the paperwork, and now let's get going. And then we back away and say, okay, now you've got an engine started between local industry, your community college, and the school. Excellent. So I will say, how can you help? San Antonio has already been approved, but this is an example of some of the companies that wrote letters of approval to help us get approval. So your letters, it may seem silly, but they count. Because what the TEA does is they say, well, how many letters did you have? Right? Check, 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 check. We have to have these check marks to get through bureaucracy to get this taught. So, for your presidents and owners, writing us letters when we need them for approval is gold, because we cannot have it without industry buy-in. So I want to say thank you to these companies, and there's others that aren't listed, but also hopefully the future thank you as well, as we work with schools to say, yeah, here's a company that says I value this being taught in the high school. That's what we're looking for, because otherwise they're not going to make a move. So where does that lead us to today? So, Isidro started with Deborah at Klein ISD, the CTE pathway. And so 2 years ago at the Institute, we launched the Point of Beginning initiative to really take it and scale it statewide. And our goal is to then give it to NSPS and have them try to take it nationwide. Because we think this is the key to success. And so as part of the Point of Beginning initiative, there's several things that we're doing. And let me run down the list. Number 1 is by 2025, we wanted to make sure we had approval in the majority of the regions in Texas. So we've done that. We have more to go, but we didn't think we'd get there this quickly. But through the support of industry writing the letters and the engagement, we are like at least a year ahead of schedule. Number 2 is continue to advocate for statewide approval. Right now we have to go region by region. We want statewide approval so we don't have to do this dance every 5 years with the TEA. They're using really outdated wage data, so we're trying to, but they have to follow the federal guidelines. So we're really trying to convince them that, yeah, surveyors don't get paid $40,000 on a license anymore. Or at least I hope not. Otherwise, I'm doing a lot of lying. Next is providing a playbook for industry and the schools to say, okay, you want to start a GELS CTE program? Here's your playbook. Here's the forms. Here's how you ask for donations. Here's how you offer the courseware. And here's what your students need to know to become professionals. As part of that, we put into place articulation agreements between 2-year and our 4-year university. So the idea is a student can graduate, go to work, graduate, go to a 2-year college like Tyler Junior College, Austin Community College, Dallas Community College, South Texas College. And then if they want to go to the 4-year, then they can easily transfer to A&M Corpus Christi to get their 4-year ABET accredited degree in Texas. And then also on our roadmap would be then to stand up an internship portal. So when they're in high school, we know there's a lot of liability issues with hiring people under the age of 18 for survey companies, and maybe it's not the right place, but we at least want to get them a little more visibility because a lot of the students just don't know where to start looking. So we're hoping to curate a way for to where we can connect high school students looking for internships during the summer and survey companies. Like Isidro with Gracia, they've had 2 high school students every summer for 5 years at his company. I mean, he's using it as a talent pipeline and been quite successful. The other thing we're doing is really trying to learn how to recruit. I mean, I'm going to say this very gently to myself included. Showing up to a career day with a total station is about the worst possible thing you can do. Showing up to a career day with a drone or a laser scanner is about the best thing you can do. You're a high-tech industry, and they want to see that. That really resonates. So we don't bring total stations and levels anymore. Now, when we do what we're about to show you, yeah, because we're having them actually do measurements. But we're learning what's resonating, what's not resonating. We bought a robot dog a year ago that has a LiDAR sensor, named her Rose, the Robotic Optical Surveying Explorer. We call her our LiDAR puppy. And that's like the best advertising money I've spent in my entire life. And it was like $3,000. We steal every show. And what's cool about it is you can't fly a drone in a high school gym, but you can walk a dog around a high school gym that does LiDAR, right? And so that's what we're learning, and that's what we're going to be building into this playbook that we're going to give out to say, hey, local high school wants you to come for a career day. Please do this and please don't do this, right? Just to kind of help, because I know your day job is not recruiting, right? And so we've been doing a lot of soul searching and learning. As part of that, last year we got a sponsorship from the Port of Corpus Christi to offer a 1-week summer camp free of charge for geospatial and land engineering and land surveying. We made a little promo video out of it. We're actually running this camp again next week. And so I wanted to kind of show you what it looks like when middle schoolers are engaging with GIS and surveying.
Thank you, Port of Corpus Christi.
Yeah, We showed that to Port Commission, so we wanted to smile. And what we didn't show is they also used a total station, did vertical, horizontal angles, had them do little worksheets and calculate. And it taught us a lot, but it also, frankly, gave us encouragement that these middle schoolers are doing trig, and they're doing math, and they understand, and they're really competitive. So I had them calculate the height of 5 spires with the total station. And I didn't think that I should actually measure it myself, because the first question was, well, who won? And I was like, oh, it's not a competition, but next week I already know the height of the spires, right? So we're really excited and honestly encouraged by what we've seen. Now, that's one camp. The other camp that we have been running, and we're calling it an institute instead of a camp, is, believe it or not, there are not high school teachers that know surveying. I know. So, as part of our strategy to get surveying taught in high schools, last year we ran a summer institute for high school educators in these career and technical pathways to teach them and introduce them to GIS and surveying. And it was a great week. So they already had the math skills, right? Some of them were the engineering pathways, some in the drone pathway. But we spent a week learning from them, but also teaching them the basics to say, take this back and also talk about it. So we're very excited about that to really help create the facilitators in the classroom. Because the model we're looking at is these students, they're going to do dual credit. In high school, they do dual credit instruction. So the university or the college is teaching the classes, but the high school teacher in the room at least helps facilitate and answer questions. Because we need some level of equity of curriculum across the state if we're going to do this. And that's where we see the community colleges and the university really helping, because we can offer the curriculum, the high school teachers can help facilitate, and then the students, at least for the community colleges and A&M this year, next year, they're getting free tuition for these classes they're taking as dual credit. And then the Blucher Institute bought all their books last year at Klein ISD, and with your generous donation of $2,500, that's also what we'll put that money towards, is helping get books, field books, calculators. You know, we lean on Altera and G4 in terms of donations, but also getting companies to donate equipment. We've taken some, we're giving it out, so there's a lot of need. And so we've kind of solved the tuition and fee problem, right? For high school students, sorry, not in this room, you'll have to apply for the scholarship. I hear there's no applicants yet. But think about it. They're gonna walk out of high school with like 24 hours of credit. That's crazy. It knocks 2 years off your college degree almost. That's amazing. Okay, so that's what we did with the high school teachers. One other thing we've been doing is trying to figure out ways to help other colleges and universities to recruit. And so last 2 years, we ran what's known as a GELS Day, to where we brought in about, the first year was 300 students, the second year was about 300 students as well. And basically got to spend almost an entire day with them, at least introducing them to GIS and surveying. So we have yet another video. Who can tell who got a videographer on staff this year? Right? So again, a lot we didn't show in that one, and I want to pause this one real quick. And I know I said no total stations, but at some point you got to understand distance and angles, right? So don't shoot the messenger, but it works occasionally. But that's what we're really trying to work on, to try to get the word out and understand, so we can help you, and help us, right? Because I mean, there are 3 legs to licensure: education, experience, examination. We got education, you got experience, and CWS has got examination, right? So it needs to continue to take the village. The last thing we're doing, I'm almost done, I promise, is saying, okay, well, if we're going to do dual credit instruction with high schools throughout the state, not every region has a local community college to teach you surveying classes. Y'all are in that boat, right? So what can we do to help fill in the gaps? So at A&M Corpus Christi, what we decided last year is to put our entire undergraduate degree back 100% online. So our 4-year degree is now 100% online. But then the next question is, well, how do you do field labs, right? Well, 2 things. One, University of Maine has an online program, 400 students. It's incredible, it's amazing. So we've been doing a lot of talking with the University of Maine to say, what are you doing about field labs? And so their main takeaway is almost every one of their students is already working in industry. So they don't need to worry about field experience. They're getting that at work, right? So that was a reprogramming of our brain, frankly, right? Because we tend to get traditional students, but it also makes a little bit more sense about that SIT number, right? If they're getting people already in industry, they just need that education to get that SIT. So we're, okay, well that's cool. So they rely very heavily on industry to say, look, here's the math, you go, turn angles or whatnot at work. We wanted to do something a little different. We do have non-traditional students, and yeah, you get work experience, fantastic, but what about those traditional students that don't? And so what we put into place last year, and Tony got a taste of this and it's better, is we are using Trimble Virtual World, which allows you to play surveying video game. So on the left, that is me with a Trimble on the university campus with a 3D campus. And on the right is Trimble Access. So that GPS unit connects to Trimble Access, and I'm about to do some GPS collection with the actual tools of the trade on campus in state plane. And so in this particular case, those of you who use Trimble, hopefully this is like, wow, that's kind of cool. It's not nearly as hot when you're sitting at your desk surveying this way, right? But for students, instead of just giving them numbers and saying, hey, we turn these angles, like imagine you're a CAD tech, hey, here's the angles, please draw it up. Go get the angle yourself. One, it helps me because I don't have people passing around the answers because you got to go collect your own angles. And even though you know it is not the same, right, you're going to get that when you get your experience anyway. But at least when you've turned that angle, you understand, oh.
Observation stored.
Thank you. I turned that angle, right? And it helps them connect the dots a little bit more. So what I'm doing in this particular case, and so I'm about to run across the screen and you'll see it capture me, is I'm setting control. So they have a R10, an R970, they've got the SX12, and then an S-Series total station, and then Trimble actually built in a 3-wire level for me, because they were missing that, and I was like, nah, I gotta have a 3-wire level. So you can actually do a 3-wire here. And so what I'm doing, and I'm speeding it up, is I'm setting control around the Natural Resources Center, one of the buildings on campus, because I want the students to, okay, hey, taste of GPS, what does control mean, and then what does that mean to set control, because now I'm gonna do a resection, right? Oh, okay, well, how does that fit in? So when I go back to, good, I've timed this fairly well. Oh no, see now I'm doing my checks again. Hold on, let me go up. Yeah, I'm setting my back sights, right? So now I'm at my SX12.
No target.
And so there's the optical plummet. Make sure I'm over my spot. And so now I'm gonna do a resection in real world coordinates using virtual world and access. And then what's even cooler is after I do that, and I'll bore you the details,
Observation stored.
Thank you. Is now remember, this is
Station
a
setup completed.
Thank you. This is a 3D campus we made, right?
No target.
This software has the capability, what you're about to see is I'm about to do a 3D scan of a virtual building, which is pretty cool. Now, yeah, same as the real world? No. But imagine you're a student living in a city with no community college and you need access to some idea for what it looks like. This is definitely better than nothing, right? And then they go to get that first internship and they're gonna learn how to set up that tripod in the first couple hours, hopefully, right? And even our middle schoolers, when they set up the levels, first setup takes about 30 minutes, second setup 20 minutes, third minute setup 10 minutes, and then they've got it, right? And then it's up to you guys and gals to teach them. So you can see there, it's doing the scan. And I've just collected a 3D laser scan from the comfort of my office chair, right? So this is the way in which we're going to try to say, hey, how can we fill that gap, right? How can we get them beyond just looking at a textbook, thinking they understand what it means to turn an angle, and then calculating the closure, right? So I used this for the first time in my fall class, Survey 1, it was optional. In Survey 2, it was required. Every single lab was done with the virtual world. We did a beach survey, which is really a lot of fun. We flew a drone and did a 1.5 centimeter 3D scan of the beach. We had real world control points we put in there, and they went and did a couple of transects, which is really a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And you get to use an Xbox controller if you want. So we take it to TSPS last year, and high school students came over. So how can you get involved? I think we see some friendly faces here. Go talk to your high schools. If you have someone in the family that's a CTE teacher or a coordinator, or you're sitting on the board of your ISD, just let them know that this exists. Right, I have some flyers up at the front. Take a few flyers to talk about the POB initiative. And if you can get us into an ISD to make an introduction, we can take it the rest of the way and do the paperwork and try to get things knocked out. Right? We want to be an integrator. We want to get these things started all around the state. Southside ISD has been down to Corpus a few times to talk about it. We haven't been able to quite close the deal, right? But if anybody knows Southside, help us out. We've got Beeville's going to start in the fall. We met with LaGrange last week, hoping 2026. Del Valley and Austin 2026. Something Valley, they're all valleys, up in Fort Worth 2026. So we're starting to see some ISDs start to sign on, right? But we cannot do it unless it is higher education, the ISD, and local businesses all saying, this is what we want. So that's where you guys come into play. That's why those letters are really important to us. And then coming to those meetings and then saying, you know what, yeah, if there's a student that came out of this with a CST and a 107, we'd hire them, right? That's what they want to hear. And then career days. And we'll help you not show up at the total station and look like we're surveying from the 1800s, right? I've done it so many times it's embarrassing, right? But we're learning. That's what we're trying to do so we can help. And then get a robot dog. There's Rose in the bottom. So yeah, she's pretty awesome. So I'll leave you with one last video, just because I had the budget for it. Who's familiar with the Skills USA surveying competition? Right, so for those of you who don't know, Skills USA is it's a national competition around career and technical education. So they have, like construction. There's policing. There's a competition called Felony Traffic Stop that I really want to see, but I haven't been able to see it yet. But now there's land surveying. And so they do a regional land surveying competition all around the state, and then whoever wins regions comes to Corpus Christi where they have the state competition, and we've chaired the state competition the last several years. And so these last 3 years, we've had 40 high school students competing in land surveying in high school. It's really, really cool. And actually they're quite good. So we have, so I wanted to show you a video from the Skills USA competition last year. We just had one again this April, just again to hopefully get you excited that, if we attack the middle schools and the high schools like we are, we can get kids into that talent pipeline. It is entirely possible, and they are impressive what they're doing. So yes, it is the same blue shirt, and we tried very hard to get a student on video actually making a shot in cornhole, and we couldn't get it, so as close as we got. Okay, so I'd like to close with that. In general, you know, we've got my contact info about the academic program, but also the Point of Beginning initiative. Would love your help. Reach out, even if you have some ideas. How can we get this online in San Antonio? You know, which high school districts can we get it started with? And then let's partner with the community colleges, and let's partner with the companies, and really get this talent pipeline going. Like, this is it. I've not been this excited about the potential for us to actually solve this talent pipeline problem in my entire academic career. And I mean, I'm the prototype, son of a surveyor. It's the only reason I'm probably here, right? Pure accident. My mom chose well the second time, right? So it's like, we're good. So that's not a good way to recruit. And it's really expensive, as it turns out. It cost my stepdad quite a bit of money, so yeah. All right, so with that being said, I do have one other slide after this, but I did want to open up any kind of questions. I know we're about at time, but anybody have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Have you already done Gels Day for this year?
We do Gels Day in the fall, so we're looking to do it again this fall. It's